Imagine a country that never quite existed. A homeland born of grief, struggle, and fire. A land envisioned not by kings or colonists, but by rebels in the jungle, bound by blood, language, and loss. A nation that carved out territory, ran schools, police, collected taxes, and then vanished in smoke. Welcome to the Library of Lost Lands, where we explore the rise and fall of countries that once were, or tried to be, but are no longer with us. Today we turn to Tamil Eelam, the unrecognized state declared by the Liberation Tigers of Tamil Eelam, LTTE, in the north and east of Sri Lanka. Though never formally recognized, Tamil Eelam functioned as a de facto state from 1990 to 2009, controlling nearly a third of the island at its peak. Its interim capital was Kilinochchi, and its flag featured crossed bayonets, a ring of bullets, and a roaring tiger, symbols of martial resistance and ethnic pride. At its height, Tamil Eelam was home to an estimated 1.5 million people. The roots of Tamil Eelam lie in the post-colonial marginalization of Sri Lanka's Ceylon Tamil minority after independence in 1948. Sinhalese-dominated governments implemented policies that downgraded Tamil language status, restricted university access, and favored Sinhalese in public service and land settlement. The Sinhala Only Act and systemic anti-Tamil discrimination spurred growing anger, culminating in the Black July pogrom of 1983, when over 3,000 Tamils were massacred. Out of this trauma rose the LTTE, led by Velupillai Prabhakaran, demanding a separate homeland, Tamil Eelam. Tamil Eelam was not merely a militant vision, it embodied the aspirations of a highly literate and industrious people. The Ceylon Tamils had long excelled in education, civil service, and professional sectors, both domestically and across a vibrant global diaspora. Given peace and stability, the north and east of Sri Lanka, with their rich cultural heritage, untouched beaches, and natural harbors, held immense potential for tourism, agriculture, and strategic trade. The port city of Trincomalee, one of the deepest natural harbors in the world, could have become a regional maritime hub. Tamil Eelam achieved remarkable feats against overwhelming odds. It developed a functioning civil administration, complete with schools, courts, police, banks, and even a revenue service. It held off the Sri Lankan military for 26 years and famously defeated the Indian peacekeeping force, forcing a regional superpower to retreat in humiliation, a rare triumph for a stateless rebel movement. Even more astonishingly, the LTTE built its own navy, known as the Sea Tigers, and fielded a rudimentary air force, deploying small aircraft in night raids over Colombo. They developed a one-man submarine and even modified civilian vehicles to run on coconut oil during embargo-induced fuel shortages. These feats showcased the ingenuity, technical ability, and organizational strength behind the Tamil nationalist project, despite its lack of formal recognition. But Tamil Eelam's story is as tragic as it is extraordinary. The LTTE, once a liberation movement, gradually descended into fascism and nihilistic violence. It ruled not just with discipline, but with intimidation and fear, targeting not only enemy combatants, but fellow Tamils who dared to dissent. Moderate Tamil politicians, academics, and journalists were routinely assassinated. Rival militant groups were eliminated. The dream of Tamil unity came with a price: enforced silence and totalitarian control. The LTTE became notorious for terrorism against civilian targets, including bus bombings, economic sabotage, and urban attacks. They invented the suicide vest, which would later be adopted by insurgent and jihadist groups across the world. Their use of child soldiers, strict press censorship, and mass intimidation drew international condemnation, even from sympathetic quarters. In 1990, the LTTE expelled over 70,000 Muslims from Jaffna, giving families mere hours to flee with what they could carry. This act of ethnic cleansing remains a deep scar on the Tamil-Muslim relationship to this day. And the violence didn't stop there. The LTTE also waged a relentless campaign of terror against the Sinhalese population, targeting sacred sites, civilians, and political leaders with devastating cruelty. The central bank bombing in 1996 killed nearly 100 and injured more than 1,400 in the heart of Colombo. The General Post Office, a symbol of state stability, was also attacked. In 1985, LTTE gunmen massacred 146 civilians at Anuradhapura, a sacred Buddhist site including women, children, and monks in prayer. They bombed the Temple of the Tooth in 1998, one of the holiest relics in the Buddhist world, in a deliberate act of desecration. They assassinated President Premadasa in 1993, blinded President Chandrika Kumaratunga, and sent a pregnant suicide bomber to try and kill Army Chief Sarath Fonseca. Yes, you heard that correctly. A pregnant suicide bomber. Let those words sink in. These were not acts of resistance. They were war crimes. The righteous anger these attacks provoked sealed the fate of the LTTE in the eyes of the nation and the world. By the early 2000s, the Sri Lankan government began massively strengthening its military capabilities. With a combination of foreign funding, intelligence sharing, and arms procurement, notably from China, but also from Pakistan and Israel, Sri Lanka was able to rearm, retrain, and refocus. China supplied not only weapons and ammunition, but also crucial diplomatic protection, particularly at the United Nations, shielding Sri Lanka from international scrutiny. Politically, the election of President Mahinda Rajapaksa in 2005 brought a new resolve. Backed by his influential brothers and growing public support, he pursued a policy of total military victory rather than negotiation. Years of LTTE bombings and assassinations had turned public sentiment decisively in favor of ending the war by force. The military began a relentless push into the north and east, taking advantage of LTTE infighting and increasingly sophisticated intelligence. By May 2009, the LTTE was cornered in a narrow coastal strip in Mullavikal, along with tens of thousands of civilians. In the final days of fighting, Velupillai Prabhakaran was killed. The remaining LTTE leadership was wiped out and its military capability eradicated. Tamil Eelam, after decades of defiance, was extinguished. The final offensive was brutal. Allegations of war crimes, indiscriminate shelling, and mass civilian deaths continue to cloud the victory and remain subjects of ongoing international debate and demand for justice. Though Tamil Eelam no longer exists, its legacy endures, in memory, in mourning, and in diaspora. The Tamil National Alliance continues to advocate for greater autonomy, and diaspora communities across Canada, the UK, and Australia still commemorate Mavirar Nal, or Heroes' Day. The Tamil flag flies in exile, and the stories of struggle are passed down through music, literature, and testimony. But the land remains scarred, and so too do the people who fought and suffered for an independent Tamil homeland. Tamil Eelam was a nation born in trauma and extinguished in war, a symbol of resistance to some and of ruthless extremism to others. It defied overwhelming odds, built an air force, navy, and submarine, and held off 2 national armies, but also committed acts that darken its legacy forever. So we ask you, outsiders often speak of the suppression of Tamil self-determination, but how should we weigh that against the authoritarianism and atrocities committed by the LTT, against Tamils, Muslims, and Sinhalese alike? Can a struggle for justice retain its moral force when it turns into a campaign of terror? Let us know what you think in the comments. If you found this episode compelling, please like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you won't miss our next journey into the forgotten pages of geopolitical history here at the Library of Lost Lands.